It's 7:01. We'll call the meeting to order. Ken, can you take the roll, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Let me get to the mic so everybody can hear. Commissioner Larson.
Here.
Commissioner Wagner.
Here.
Commissioner Seeler. Not here. Commissioner Gerard.
Here.
Commissioner Young. Not here. Tim.
Here.
Commissioner, thank you. Commissioner Miller, not here.
All right, we ask you, you're able, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair is looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented or with changes.
So moved, sir.
I have a motion, I have a second.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. It's a non-debatable motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Chair is looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda considerations. We have one item on there, which is to approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes from March 27, 2024.
So moved again, sir.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Our first item on the agenda tonight, I guess really our only item, is a public hearing for zone code text amendment, reorganization and structure. And Ken, are you starting or is Claire starting? Or?
I'll start it off, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay.
Members of the commission, as you recall, back on February 28th, you heard a presentation from the staff at MSA, and Claire was part of that presentation of how they were suggesting the city best reorganize the zoning code. And the primary purpose of this is to make it more user-friendly and probably have a better flow than it currently does. After the presentation, during the presentation, you had some questions and answers for the staff. But in summary, I think the commission was generally supportive of the plan to reorganize the code. And it was brought up then, and we'll reiterate tonight, that at this point there are no text changes to the code. It's simply reorganizing and making it flow better. So the MSA staff, again, Claire and Kate, primarily Claire, have prepared a reorganized code, and what we would be proposing tonight is to delete all of the current zoning code, or when the council hears it, would be deleting the entire code, adopting a new version of the zoning code that is reorganized again with no text changes. This new architecture, as we're calling it for the zoning code, reduces the number of sections from 18 to 6 and significantly reduces the number of subsections of the zoning ordinance. It does, the one change is it does add a comprehensive use table. It's more, again, so it's new content, but it's a table, and I handed out 11 by 17 for you that shows all the uses in all the zoning districts. So it's a big matrix of what uses can occur or might occur in the various zoning districts. Otherwise, again, all the text is the same. Claire is here, and we'll let her go through a little more detail on what they found and what they are proposing. So our recommendation for you tonight after Claire's presentation is to open the public hearing, take any public comment that we might have, close the hearing, discuss the ordinance amendment, and then we have a recommendation that the commission recommend approval to the city council. With that, I will turn it over to Claire and let her go into the details.
Thank you, Ken. Good evening, everybody. I have a brief presentation just to go over some of the comments and what we did to incorporate that into the draft ordinance that you have in your packets this evening, as well as a more abbreviated version of what that final structure looks like, because I think the ordinance might have been 200+ pages for you to go through. So The main things that we were discussed last time was that the sign ordinance should remain in chapter 153. So that is incorporated still in the structure. We did not break it out into, a different area. And then we wanted to make sure that right now, one of your subsections is additional requirements. I think it's subsection like 17, or it doesn't have a great home. And we wanted to make sure that those 3 subsections listed in there had a place to go. So I just wanted to highlight where those are locating. So it was sustainability requirements that now is located in environmental regulations, same with solar. And then inclusionary housing, we decided would best fit within general development regulations. So it's no longer in that additional requirements subsection. And again, just wanted to reiterate the no text or content changes. Our staff reviewed and renumbered everything and ensured that with the renumbering, anything that was referencing in the code, that old number was changed to equivalent the new district number. So it went through several of my review, other people's review, because I could only stare at the Word document for so long before my eyes started to cross a little bit. And then we also updated the use table. We had some comments from the commission at the last meeting that, it was really large, really difficult to read. And so one of the things that we decided was to take out the full names on the top columns of the use, of the district, and can pull it up on the screen a little bigger, and do more of the abbreviated, and this is how it shows up on your zoning map anyways. It shows the MXR1 and RR and SF. So, and city staff was, they're digging in this as much as we are, and they said that they're fine with the abbreviation rather than the full name. It kind of cut down the column size a little bit. And then the other is that the general categories are color-coded to match with your future, or your zoning map as well. And your zoning map follows best practice for land use coloring. Ag is green, residential is yellow, business is red. That's best practice from a planning side, as well as obviously it's what's incorporated in the city zoning district. And so that's where the color coding and those new kind of coloring came in. I'm not 100% sure if that will be able to be adopted that way in the American Legal, which is where your code lives online. But should somebody want a paper version of this, or city staff need a PDF, would be a helpful tool, again, as it correlates better with that zoning map than just, I think, the draft Excel spreadsheet you had in your packets on February 28th. Otherwise, excuse me. This is the new outline, as Ken had mentioned, 18 old subsections moving to 6, with the subsections still remaining as headers in the new layout. So as you can kind of see in your packets, that has the old code and the new code numbers in my staff memo. It will have, like, under general development regulations, there's some, and then it still has off-street parking and loading requirements as a header. It's just no longer a numbered subsection, because parking requirements, lighting, and landscaping are all necessary general development regulations. Staff didn't find that they, needed to be broken out, which kind of came to the stead of this simplification of the code. The other main thing is, before we had 300 plus subsections. Now we have a total of 216. And I just wanted to reiterate that within there are still some reserved sections in between each of those should future amendments come forward. I think, like, the district regulations, I kept more, because that's likely where you're gonna see a lot of amendments, and same with general development. But within your, like, responsibilities, enforcements, and appeal, those have likely remained the same from adoption. And so you're probably not gonna see a lot of zoning. I mean, there's still, I think, 3 or 4 reserved in there. But before, you had like, I think each section went up to like 99 in each. And so that just holds up a lot of space and makes the code feel a lot bigger and harder to tackle than it really is. So that's what I have for you this evening. This is the oops, sorry, I don't know why that's coming up. This is the final layout in a more simplified form, but if you have any questions for me, I'm certainly happy to answer them. I know it's a kind of big thing to tackle and look at.
Questions for Ken or Claire?
I think we covered it beforehand.
All right, I have a couple.
Yeah.
One would be, what's our confidence that between all of the numbering that we don't have an old number being used as a new category? You know, a subsection, you know? I looked through it, but like you say, after you stare at it for a while, I go, I have a high confidence in this, but I'm just curious.
So I looked through it, I had another staff member look through it, and then I re-looked through it, and then it went to Ken and Abby, and I think they also looked through it. So as much as I'd like to say human error isn't there, I'm pretty confident that it isn't. And Command F is a beautiful thing. So, you know, we made sure, at my office, I have 3 screens. So I had like the old code Word document, the new one, and then a working doc that kind of, every time something changed, I marked it down and then made sure that the old one, whatever that was referencing in the new one wasn't, because that's the main one. We want to make sure that, let's say, in your single like in a zoning district, if it references, you need the landscape plan and here is the additional information, you know, you want to make sure that the person is going to the right subsection. And so I think I'm I'm confident because I spent a lot of time doing it, but we can do one final review before it goes into the council packets, which I think, you know, I have capacity to do in the next, before they're due for the materials.
And then what, so let's say we move forward with this, this may be more of a Ken question. So we have applicants that are currently in process and they're under code X, and now you're gonna have code Y. And granted, it's just a numbering system, but how are we handling that?
Can you see
You
the
get back
deer?
to me on that?
You get the deer in the headlight look there for a second? Well, fortunately, Claire put together a great little table saying, here's the old numbers, here's the old new numbers. Staff will just have to track that and be on it until,
And
this will be adopted hopefully or in place by the 1st of May. And so any applications coming in after that will be under the new numbering, but we will have to change any forms or application materials that might reference code sections to make sure we're talking about landscaping is the new number, not the old number. But we'll get there.
And 2, in your code, like, this is the city of Afton. I had this up because I was gonna show you guys some use tables, but they just recodified and went from a different numbering system. And you can see right here, it says prior code 12132. Because they went from like a PDF version last year and incorporated into Lee. And you guys use American Legal Publishing for yours as well. So it would have, like, this used to be ordinance number 724. So it would be a similar thing. So because it's by reference of the old, nothing's gonna become non-compliant if an application, you know, is actively referencing an incorrect number. It's still referenced here in the code because it says the previous one. So it's still legal in terms of moving forward and what they're looking for.
Oh, I'm confident. I just want to make sure that we're confident that, and the staff's very good, so I'm sure it'll be seamless, but, you know, we sit up here and we're maybe not as qualified. Me, at least.
We're confident, Mr. Chair.
All right, and my last question, this is definitely for Ken. You know, we all have these nice, well, probably not everybody, we got the thick zoning manual, and then, you know, it's online also. Do you think the city could print us out another one?
Well, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, so assuming this gets adopted on April 22nd by the council, hopefully in the next 2-3 months after that, we'll start diving into amendments and actually getting into the meat of making dex changes. would it make sense to print off 300 pages of current zoning that will have sections that get changed over the next few months?
I mean, I can live without it.
It's available online too, isn't
It
it?
is, it will be.
Yeah, but then I gotta have my dual screen, and when I retired, I tried to get rid of the dual screen.
Smart TV then, that way you can throw it on that.
I got one of those.
Oh, well, there you go, shouldn't be a problem, sir.
Yeah. I tell my wife
I'll
that.
come over and
We
help
could
you.
certainly get it on a flash drive and you could open it up that way, but,
I'm good.
well, we can discuss that.
Yeah, I'm
We,
good.
we want to accommodate our commissioners to make sure they can do a good job.
I'll manage.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Any last comments for the public hearing?
No, sir.
All right, we'll have a public hearing. The way this will work is anyone is interested in speaking to this change to our zoning, we ask that you come up, state your name and address for the record, spend a couple minutes giving us your thoughts. Once we have heard from everybody that wishes to speak, we will close the public hearing and it will be brought back for discussion with the commission and any further discussion amongst ourselves that we need, and then we'll make a recommendation one way or the other. So with that, I'll open the public hearing at 7:18 PM. Does anyone wish to speak to this application?
Come on down. Mr. Chair, I did not get any comments.
We have
Phone
no
calls or
online
emails.
or no comments to read in?
No, no comments, no emails, no no one online.
Okay. I'll ask again, does anyone wish to speak to this application for us to change our zoning structure? Seeing no one come forward and no additional comments, we'll close the public hearing at 7:19 PM. Commissioners, what would you like to do?
I make a motion to approve the, or recommend the revised code architecture as drafted.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion?
And, Mr. Chair, just to be clear, that's essentially the staff recommendation on page 7?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you for your fine presentation, Claire. We look
Thank you for
forward to
your time
working
and
with
hard
you.
work.
You're welcome.
Now, will you be being bludgeoned on when we actually get through doing this? You'll be attending, or this will be through Abby and Ken?
We're working on the next phase of scope with staff, so likely, yes. Mhm.
As I said earlier, they've already identified several, what would you call, low-hanging fruit, the easy
Yeah.
things to,
That's what we were calling
where there's
it.
inconsistencies or things missing that should not be controversial, to clean up the code, do that kind of the next bite, and then we'll see where that goes after that.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
Perfect. With that, we'll move to staff updates. Do I have Councilperson Roberts online tonight?
We do not.
Okay, then Ken, anything?
Several things. First of all, your next meeting on the 24th is canceled. Please take the night off. We will have a meeting on May 8th. Have 3 items on the agenda so far. One is a 2-lot residential plat for a property on North Shore Trail. Second one is an amendment or site plan revision for the Washington County Northern Environmental Center. If, for those who were on the commission recall, when that got approved, it was for the building and their parking lot, and they were still working out the details for access. They've got that 95% worked out. There will be an extension of Headwaters Parkway going in, and they've been working with MnDOT and getting the permitting and how to do the traffic signal and all that kind of thing, and they've got those plans together now, so they're bringing that into the city for approval. And lastly, and for those who might be watching at home, the KFC has probably a new user, Chase Bank, wants to take the site, demolish the building, and build a brand-new bank building there with a drive-up teller. And then, so that'll go through site plan review with the commission as well at the next meeting.
All right.
So some more good stuff to talk about. Then a couple other things I'll just briefly mention. Mr. Car Wash is actually under construction. The utility work was done on 12th Street over Monday and Tuesday. Had it closed down for a while, and those are now being extended to the east to get to the Mr. Car Wash site, and will serve where the expansion of the Westlake Shopping Center was going to be, or is going to be. That project did get approved by the council at their last meeting Monday. So now they're going to work out their final details and try to find a tenant for that building. And I think that's it. So, and I don't know if Commissioner remembers, last fall, we reviewed another apartment building down at Headwaters Parkway, right down by the vet clinic. In that area, there's one vacant lot there. They've got their building permit almost ready to go. They're gonna close on the property by the end of the month and get started building that in May. That'll be a 71-unit building with lower level parking underneath. So it'll be a nice addition to that neighborhood. That is the highlights.
Any questions of Ken? Hearing none, we'll go down the line here. Tim, you have questions? Okay.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing to add? Jesse?
Nothing tonight.
No, sir, thank you.
I have nothing. So with that, Chair is looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I got a motion and a second, it's a non-debatable motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for participating this evening.